This is Matt with Cinelinx.com talking with Tom Kenny, the voice of Spyro in Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage, Spyro Year of the Dragon, and Spyro Reignited Trilogy. Hey Tom, how are you doing?
Hi Matt, we're talking Spyro, baby.
Yeah, we're talking Spyro. Well, before we do, I do have to say happy belated birthday to you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
That's very kind of you.
I think everybody wants to know is how does the voice of a generation celebrate his birthday?
Man, boy, I wish I had a better story. I just hung at home with my wife and my kids, and we chilled, man. We got some food and watched an Elvis movie.
Hey, that's nice. That's a good way to celebrate your birthday.
I was trying to convince my kids that Elvis is cool. But,
I mean, come on. He is, though. He's the king.
That's exactly. I convinced them. I go, you got to look at old Elvis. He was wearing eyeliner in 1956.
Oh, so yeah.
David Bowie of the 50s. So
he was cool before it even, he was doing that before it was cool.
He was a freak. He was an alien, like all the best rock stars.
What was it like to get back into the booth to voice Spyro after 2 decades?
It was fun, unexpected. You do these jobs and you never know which ones are going to circle back around. But I had seen like a spike in Spyro awareness over the last couple of years, where like just at Comic-Con appearances with people asking about it and people with Spyro stuff for me to sign. Like I saw it kind of happening, like statistically, like I could make a flow chart of it. Like, wow, that's weird. Like 14 people asked me about Spyro today. That's weird. And then the next one, 25 people asked me about Spyro at this con. And then and that was before the Reignited was announced. So yeah, it's just kind of a nice zeitgeisty harmonic convergence thing, and it was funny. These mostly 20-somethings, but also little kids and older folks too. But they would come with the copy of the game that they played when they were kids and want you to sign that copy. You know what I mean? Like the tattered box or the shredded booklet from and sometimes the box and the booklet had been lost, and you just sign the actual disc, or the actual, not the disc, I guess it was a disc.
Yeah, it was a disc.
It was a disc. Yeah, it was a disc. Yeah, because it was for PlayStation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you sign the disc with a picture of Spyro on it, and they go, yeah, I lost a box in the magazine in 1999.
Well, do you ever find it intimidating or inspiring whenever people come up to you and say that and ask you to sign, or even say that, hey, you were the voice of my childhood?
Yeah, I get that particular comment a lot, just cumulatively, like you were on this show and that show and that show and that game and that game. And so yeah, you were the voice of my childhood thing. I get that pretty often, and it's really it's kind of the nicest thing someone could say to you. You know what I mean? It's like, and sometimes people's childhoods weren't good. Sometimes they were. And so sometimes they say, I had a great childhood and you were a part of it. My family would all sit together and watch this or that or play this or that. And then sometimes they go, man, my childhood was a freaking train wreck, and like the stuff you did was like a safe place for me or whatever. So, it's kind of nice to be a part of that, in that fabric of somebody's life. And, you don't think about that when you're just recording a voiceover gig. You audition, you hope you get the gig. If you do, you go in and record it, and do the best you can, and and then sometimes this crazy statistical anomaly of 20 years later, something will come back and they'll actually want you to do it instead of some young celebrity. That's nice.
Well, 20 years have passed. I mean, as a voice actor, is that voice always in your back pocket, or is it something that you have to like go back and listen to what you did before?
I hadn't thought of, I hadn't thought about doing Spyro. Actually, I was doing Spyro here and there because those people I was talking to you about at Comic-Cons would want you to say things from the game, or they'd ask you to do something, or hey, can you record a message for my brother as Spyro, so you just go, hey, Timmy, I wish you were here. We can go to Dragon Shores together, and last one there's a Nork, and they, that was kind of my, so that kind of, kept me with Spyro's voice in my head here and there, but I didn't look at, it wasn't intimidating, to use your word. It was more like, it's a math problem. It's a Rubik's Cube. Did this 20 years ago. They're doing it again. He has to sound the same. He has to, the reads in large part have to be the same because people are very familiar with the cadences of a lot of these lines and stuff like that. And really, this is just a plussing of the game, right? It's like this varsity Spyro, JV Spyro was the 1998 one, but now it's like, varsity level, animation and fluidity and all that stuff but people get nostalgic, right? Like there's a reason that those, 8-bit games are still popular.
Yeah, definitely.
So you got to keep the DNA of that stuff. Like you can't mess it up. I always cringe when I see a T-shirt of whatever, like the Tasmanian Devil and rap clothes or whatever. You know what I mean? You're just like,
that's not him.
Nobody was asking for this to be updated like this, or whatever. Yeah, nobody was asking for this, and so the same with Spyro. You want it to live. You want it to be what it's been, and you just want the improvements to add to people's experience. With these new ingredients that couldn't be baked, that weren't able to be baked into the cake 20 years ago. So really it just was down to me, like listening to those old reads and matching them in a way that was more left brain than doing a cartoon. I mean, there's a certain amount of left brainness that goes into all that stuff. You have to think about it and look at your storyboard. It's never just, hey, go in there and read some stuff out loud, and then you leave. It's, there's, you got to put thought into it. There's definitely right brain and left brain involved, but it was definitely more of, with Spyro is more like you're trying to hit a target, as sharpshooting, where you're going, I want this, I got to match this read from 20 years ago. And, some of it you want to do a little different because, I think I'm better at voice acting than I was 20 years ago. So, but you sort of have to resist that urge or split the difference. It's really all about the players and the fans and their experience. It's not really about what I want to do. It's just you want Spyro. You want their Spyro. You used to want them to feel like it's their Spyro that they always loved and grew up with. But it's like even better now.
Yeah. So, I mean, it sounds to me like it was a little bit more challenging to redo Spyro 2 and Year of the Dragon. So was Spyro the Dragon, since you didn't do the first game, was there a little bit more freedom there?
Yes, exactly. Because you weren't, because it was, you weren't having to recreate the wheel that you already made 20 years ago vocally. So it was just like, so then it was more about like just matching the timing, the animation, as long as it times out the same and it sounds like Spyro, you don't have to worry what Carlos did all those years ago, Carlos Alzaraki. And that was him, right?
I believe so.
I think it was him.
Yeah.
Him and I have known each other for like 30 years, but so that was, doing the first one was kind of fun. It was that was kind of like you're able to get in and just do it. That was a little, it was like 1998 all over again.
Well, so we've mentioned before, obviously, you're the voice of Spyro. We know this. I hope people know that you are SpongeBob SquarePants. And
some do, some don't.
Yeah,
I don't care.
It's amazing, but they should.
As long as they like, it and watch it, or whatever. I'm happy to be in the shadows.
I love the fact that you were the Ice King in Adventure Time and all the various other characters, and even more recently, Hugh in Final Space, which I had no idea
Yes.
you were Hugh. That was
Oh,
incredible.
cool.
That was
Great.
fantastic. Is that
You
is that
know?
what you go for? Do you go for nobody to notice that that's you?
Yes. Well, yeah. It's funny you mentioned that. Nobody ever asked that, but it's yeah, it's a weird job. Like, to me, the highest compliment like that I can get, like the compliment that I just get off on, where I go, yeah, is when people go, hey, I watched this thing, and until I read the credits, I had no idea that was you. And I just go, yeah, you know what I mean? I still got a couple of tricks left in my trick bag, yeah, people not know it. It's the difference. It's like the difference between celebrity voiceover, right? Where it's like your whole job is to sound like Chris Rock or whatever. You're the donkey, you're Chris Rock. So, and if you don't sound like Chris Rock, you're not doing your job. So your job is just to sound like you. You know what I mean? Whereas my job is to sound as little like me as possible, and hopefully, not sound too much like other characters you've done in the past. There's always a little bit of shared DNA, and Daffy Duck and Sylvester always kind of, even as a kid, I knew they were the same guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, that's pretty weird when you think about it. It's like, especially like in today's world, like where nobody wants to be under the radar. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no, it's true.
Everything is about just how many likes you get and having your whatever YouTube channel. And hi guys, make sure to like me on the, and it's like, I like kind of letting that coin drop into the slot where people go, whoa, that's him. Oh my God. And he's also this guy, and oh wow, and he's that thing from I remember from when I was a kid, but he's also this Rick and Morty guy, or whatever. Like, I kind of love that, that's the most fun part of the job to me still. Like that still gets me excited every day. Like when I'm out doing this, is like that's fun. And something like you on Final Space is like really low key. Like the hardest part about that is that I'm like a pretty high energy person, so playing somebody that low key,
yeah,
it's actually as harder for me. It's for me, it's as hard as like if Stephen Wright had to play SpongeBob. So I don't scream, but yeah. So it's really fun, and Spyro, it's really all about that youthful energy and channeling that youthful energy, which luckily I think I still am, because I like what I do for a living, and I got I have kids. I'm and I think I'm a young thinking, like I know where Spyro lives. You know what I mean? So it's like I can still feel that, and it really is that zest for life. That Spyro, right? He's got that. Joie de vivre. He's ready to go, like high energy, and him and Sparks are looking for adventure, man. What's over the next bend? What's around the next bend? What's over the next hill? And I'm totally that guy. I've always been that guy. I'm still that guy. Like, just wow. I can't go to sleep now. There might be something really interesting happening.
So is that how you?
I hate that I have to sleep.
I know. I mean, you miss out on so many things.
It's an intrusion.
So is that how you stayed so versatile and successful in voice acting? Is it because you essentially just never grew up and you keep getting to try out all these new voices and characters with your kids?
Yeah, I think that's a large part of it, and I think if you love what you do, if you're lucky enough to be one of the very few people that wakes up in the morning and goes and does something they don't hate, that you're definitely a very lucky person. So you have to honor that. You can't. You have to give that the proper respect, because a lot of people don't have the luxury to do something they love and get paid for it. So, if you're one of those fortunate few that has that lottery scratcher, you should, don't phone it in. So I really. Yeah, and I think if you love what you do and you approach it with energy, and also it's funny, like the creators, the people that create this content, are like energetic, exciting, youthful people, and that just kind of rubs off on you. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a fun place to be. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what I'd be doing. I'd be like working at Dunder Mifflin with Michael Scott. I don't know what I'd be doing, but it's like,
I don't know. I just cannot see you as like a pencil pusher. Like, that's just hilarious.
I never had a plan B. I started doing stand up in high school and playing in bands in high school, and then I was like, never got around to the whole college thing, and so so I've been doing this since I was just doing stuff that I'm interested in and that I think is fun to do. And then, luckily just for some of those avenues eventually got to a place where people go, hey, we'll pay you to do that. So it's like, it's kind of nice. Like I said, I feel like, it's a very, obviously you work for it. It's a lot of work, but you gotta, I value it very much, and it's fun to, like I said, be like in something like Spyro where people get to something that was a nice, enjoyable part of their life. They get to reignite their romance with Spyro.
I see what you did there.
We probably have time for one more question.
Oh, I was actually going to end. That was it.
Okay.
Yeah, you're like, I don't need to talk to this.
No, it's been amazing. But, I was trying to stay within the 10 minutes that they gave me. So,
Matt, you are the greatest. I have, I'll just go, it was like when I was doing stand-up comedy. I'll just keep going till I see a light. till I see the red light in the back of the room. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, I gotta go. I'll wrap this up, folks. So I appreciate you being the timekeeper for me, because I don't have that skill.
No problem. That's what I'm here for. But Tom, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Matt. Really nice talking to you, and I hope just maybe see you the next time I do the Dallas Con. It's really fun.
Absolutely, that'd be great.
Look up RL's Blues Palace #2.
That is the first place I'm going to go to when we finish this.
All right. Cool. Later.
That was Tom Kenny, everybody. You can find him on Spyro Reignited Trilogy on September 21st on Xbox One and PlayStation 4 for $39.99.